Radha Madhava Jaya Punjabi Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Punjabi Hari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Yashodanandana Jaya Raja Chandana Jaya Raja Chandana Jaya Raja Janaranja Jaya Raja Janaranja Jaya Punjabi Jaya Punjabi Jaya Radha Jaya Punjabi Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Raja Janaranja Jaya Raja Janaranja Yashodanandana Jaya Raja Janaranja Jaya Raja Janaranja Yamuna Tira Vana Jari Jaya Kunjali Hari Jaya Yamuna Tira Vana Jari Jaya Kunjali Hari Yamuna Tira Vana Jari Jaya Kunjali Hari Jaya Jaya Kunjali Hari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Let's try that again. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo, 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 Gora Haribo, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakaramahyan Dadati Svaparantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Paratamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sarvadatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Namaha Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadeshatadine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhumya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Gaura Premanande Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate So, now what should we do?
Would you like to use this stand for the book?
All right, whatever you want me to do. I have lots of different sorts of furniture here. ISKCON Zagreb. This looks like a forgiving press conference. So, good evening, everyone. Dobro večer. What was it I learned to say? I already forgot. Evo nas. So it's nice to be here in Bizek, ISKCON Zagreb, in case anyone is in doubt, in Temple of Shishi Gaur Nitai. Thank you all for coming on this sunny Friday afternoon. What's the date today? 30th. Wow, it's already the end of the month. Okay. And we're reading from Bhagavad-gita. How fortunate we are. A lot of people are doing a lot of other things on Friday afternoon. But we are reading Bhagavad-gita. And we're reading from chapter 2. Contents of the Gita summarized. This chapter is usually called Sankhya Yoga. Everyone's okay with English or translation is wanted? Translation Yagya. Okay, we can chant. Shall we chant this verse? Yes. No? Yes. No? Yes. Okay. Yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi.
Yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi.
Yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi.
Yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi.
Saṅgam tyaktvā dhanañ-jaya.
Saṅgam tyaktvā dhanañ-jaya.
Saṅgam tyaktvā dhanañ-jaya.
Saṅgam tyaktvā dhanañ-jaya.
Siddhi-asiddhyoḥ samo bhūtvā.
Siddhi-asiddhyoḥ samo bhūtvā.
Siddhi-asiddhyoḥ samo bhūtvā.
Siddhi-asiddhyoḥ samo bhūtvā.
Samatvam yoga ucyate.
Samatvam yoga ucyate.
Samatvam yoga ucyate.
Samatvam yoga ucyate.
Yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi.
Yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi.
Saṅgam tyaktvā dhanam-jaya.
Saṅgam tyaktvā dhanam-jaya.
Siddhi-asiddhyoḥ samo bhūtvā.
Siddhi-asiddhyoḥ samo bhūtvā.
Samatvam yoga ucyate.
Samatvam yoga ucyate.
Others?
Yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi.
Yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi.
Saṅgam tyaktvā dhanam-jaya.
Saṅgam tyaktvā dhanam-jaya.
Siddhi-asiddhyoḥ samo bhūtvā.
Siddhi-asiddhyoḥ samo bhūtvā.
Samatvam yoga ucyate.
Samatvam yoga ucyate.
Yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi.
Yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi.
Saṅgam tyaktvā dhanam-jaya.
Saṅgam tyaktvā dhanam-jaya.
Siddhi-asiddhyoḥ samo bhūtvā.
Siddhi-asiddhyoḥ samo bhūtvā.
Samatvam yoga ucyate.
Samatvam dhanam-jaya. Siddhi-asiddhyoḥ samo bhūtvā. Samatvam yoga-ucyate.
Yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi.
Yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi.
Saṅgaṁ tyaktvā dhanañ-jaya.
tyaktvā dhanam-jaya.
Siddhi-asiddhyoḥ samo bhūtvā.
Siddhi-asiddhyoḥ samo bhūtvā.
Samatvam yoga-ucyate.
Samatvam yoga-ucyate.
Yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi.
Yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi.
Saṅgaṁ tyaktvā dhanañ-jaya.
tyaktvā dhanam-jaya.
Siddhi-asiddhyoḥ samo bhūtvā.
Siddhi-asiddhyoḥ samo bhūtvā.
Samatvam yoga-ucyate.
Samatvam yoga-ucyate.
Okay, what does it mean? Yoga-sthaḥ.
Yoga-sthaḥ.
Equipoised.
Equipoised.
Kuru.
Kuru.
Perform.
Perform.
Karmāṇi.
Karmāṇi.
Your duties.
Your duties.
Saṅgam.
Saṅgam.
Attachment.
Attachment.
Tyaktvā.
Tyaktvā.
Giving up.
Giving up.
Dhanam-jaya.
Dhanam-jaya.
O Arjuna.
O Arjuna.
Siddhi-asiddhyoḥ.
Asiddhyoḥ.
In success and failure.
In success and failure.
Samatvam.
Samatvam.
Equipoised.
Equipoised.
Bhūtvā.
Bhūtvā.
Becoming.
Becoming.
Samatvam.
Samatvam.
Equanimity.
Equanimity.
Yoga.
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 Ucyate
Ucyate.
is called.
Is called.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: perform your duty equiposed, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. Purport: Krishna tells Arjuna that he should act in yoga. And what is that yoga? Yoga means to concentrate the mind upon the Supreme by controlling the ever-disturbing senses. And who is the Supreme? The Supreme is the Lord. And because he himself is telling Arjuna to fight, Arjuna has nothing to do with the results of the fight. Gain or victory are Krishna's concern. Arjuna is simply advised to act according to the dictation of Krishna. Dictation, you know this word? The order. The following of Krishna's dictation is real yoga. And this is practiced in the process called Krishna consciousness. By Krishna consciousness only can one give up the sense of proprietorship. Proprietorship, you know what that means? Ownership. One has to become the servant of Krishna, or the servant of Krishna. That is the right way to discharge duty in Krishna consciousness, which alone can help one to act in yoga. Arjuna is a Kshatriya, and as such, he is participating in the Varnashrama institution. It is said in the Vishnu Purana that in the Varnashram Dharma, the whole aim is to satisfy Vishnu. No one should satisfy himself, as is the rule in the material world. But one should satisfy Krishna. So, unless one satisfies Krishna, one cannot correctly observe the principles of varnashram dharma. Indirectly, Arjuna was advised to act as Krishna told him. Ooh. So ends Prabhupada's purport. Yoga-sthaḥ kuru karmāṇi saṅgaṁ tyaktvā dhanañ-jaya siddhi-asiddhyoḥ samo bhūtvā samatvam yoga ucyate. It's a nice verse giving a kind of definition of yoga in terms of samatvam. We have the word sama in this verse and samatvam. And they're pretty much the same, but samatva is what would be called the abstract noun. Abstract noun. In English, we say things like happiness. So happy is describing a mood, and happiness that would be the abstract noun. So you have in Croatian, what do you have? You do the same thing, but how is it you say it? Happiness, happiness. Sreća. Sreća. And being happy? Sreća. Sretana. Sretana. Okay. Yeah. In Polish, szczęśliwy. Everyone laughs, but they are laughing when they hear Croatian. It's the material world. Yeah, and then it's interesting, Prabhupada is translating also yoga-sthaḥ as equipoised. Well, okay, again, as in many cases, it could be that he's taking it from one of the commentators. But more literally, yoga-sthaḥ means standing in yoga. Stha means to stand, to be situated. Situated where? You could say in yoga. Situated, standing, or Prabhupada would often say fixed. Be fixed up, fixed in yoga. And then kuru karmāṇi. Kuru is the imperative, you know this word? Imperative means you must do it. So it's a command, and it's he's addressing Arjuna, so it's second person. There's two persons speaking to each other, and so he's speaking to Arjuna. Do. What should he do? Karmāṇi, activities. How should he do activities? Yoga-sthaḥ, standing in yoga. So whatever you do, do it within this, we say in modern English, in the space of yoga. Be in the space of yoga. Saṅgam tyaktvā. So then we have in this verse two times, there's tyaktvā and bhūtvā. And in English these are called gerund. So having given up tyaktvā, having given up what? Saṅgam. Now saṅga we usually think of means association. But what does it mean literally? It means saṅga, going together. And going together is often, well, it's kind of the opposite of going apart, separating. And so here, in this context, it means attachment. And it's interesting, I think, just strikes me now, that Krishna is addressing Arjuna as dhanañ-jaya. What does dhanam-jaya mean?
Conqueror of wealth.
Yes, conqueror of wealth. What's the story related to this in the Mahabharata? What's the background of this? Yes, he went out and did some fundraising. Actually, he just went, where did he go? Somewhere up in the Himalaya, where, it's years since I heard this, but there had been a yajna at a previous time, and it was maybe a previous age, and the priests and all those involved, they had just left all the paraphernalia there, even though it was pure gold. They were so some gold, so what? What can you do with gold? You can't eat it. So they just left it there, and then Arjuna came and picked it all up, and suddenly had all the goods for financing another sacrifice. So that's interesting because, why is that interesting? Well, saṅgaṁ tyaktvā dhanañ-jaya. O dhanam-jaya, you who have won wealth, in effect he's saying, be detached from what you have gained. Could be taken that way. So we have tyaktvā, this having given up, or it can also have a sense of giving up, so while you're giving up. Sarvadharman parityajya, this parityajya is another form of this gerund. So, having given up all forms of dharma. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Saṅgam tyaktvā dhanañ-jaya. Having or giving up, being detached from attachment, then siddhy-asiddhyoḥ samatvam, made into samo because of sandhi, samaḥ bhūtvā. Bhūtvā, in this case, having become from bhūtvā, having become samatvam, with regard to siddhi and asiddhi. What's siddhi? Yeah, success can also mean perfection. Yeah. And asiddhi must mean probably the opposite. Yeah. Although technically, according to one source I read, the in the front of a word doesn't necessarily mean the opposite. It can also mean less. So perfect or not so perfect. But anyway, in this context, probably it means the opposite. Siddhi-asiddhyoḥ. Asiddhi. Samaḥ. Be equal in success and failure. And then comes the last line, the definition, samatvam, yoga. Ucyate, and that's also interesting. Why is ucyate? It is said. It's a kind of impersonal sort of a expression. So Krishna, who is Krishna? He's none other than Bhagavan. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the supreme authority in all matters concerning yoga. After all, he's Yogeshvara. That's mentioned at the end of the Gita. He is Lord of Yoga. But here he's being humble. He's saying, it is said that yoga, that samatvam is yoga. that being equiposed is yoga. That's yoga. You want to be considered a yogi, then be equiposed in success and failure and everything else. So that's the idea. And then Prabhupada in his purport is very clear to insist that practice of yoga is about practicing Krishna consciousness. It's the following of Krishna's dictation is real yoga. So Prabhupada brings in the point, which he often does, of authority. I've been listening to lectures of Prabhupada on verses in the beginning of this chapter, near the beginning, when Krishna first speaks, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, and Srila Prabhupada very often will speak 3/4 of his lecture on just this point. Who is Bhagavan and why that's significant that it's Bhagavan who is speaking the Bhagavad-gita. Okay, but here he's saying, samatvam yoga ucyate, it is said. And this is kind of elaborating on the previous verse, karmāṇi-vadikaraste, ma paleshu kadachana, ma karma palaheturbhur, ma te sango astu karmāṇi. You have a right, adhikara, you have the right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits. Ma paleshu. At any time, kadachana. Ma karma palahetu. You're not the cause of the fruits, or do not be the cause of the fruits. Ma te saṅgaṁ astu karmāṇi. And don't be attached to not doing your duty. This verse was quoted to me one time in South India. I was traveling with His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami and the late His Holiness Suhotra Swami. We were traveling around, I won't say. We were kind of being like tourists. And we were in Kerala, and Suhotra Maharaj really wanted to visit this one town called Haripada, in which there's a snake temple where they worship snakes. He wanted to see that. Okay, so we went there. I've told some of you this story, I think. And so we got into a guest house, and then Bhaktivedanta Swami and I went to go shopping for some bhoga. And while we were in the market, we got a tap on the shoulder, and it was a policeman, and he said, "Please come with me." Didn't explain why. He said, quite definitely, "You're coming with me." All right, so we went to the police station, and we sat for some time in the reception, and then we were brought into he must have been the police chief, into his office, one at a time, separately. We were taken in and we were interviewed. Because we were dressed like this. And this made them wonder. This was a smaller town, maybe the first time they had seen Western Hare Krishnas, I don't know. But the policeman was kind of testing me whether I really, if I'm the real thing. So we got discussing Bhagavad-gita. And initially I was kind of worried, maybe he's Christian and therefore he's not going to be happy with a Western Hare Krishna. Whatever he was, at one point he quoted this verse. This is the verse that practically anyone who says they know Bhagavad-gita in India, this is the verse they know. Karmāṇi vadikaraste ma paleshu kadachana ma karma palehetu mate sangusta karmāṇi. He looked at his assistant like, you see, I know Bhagavad-gita, huh? So after he interviewed us both, he said, okay, now you can go. Okay, can we ask just why you were calling us and interviewing us? Yeah, he said that in a few days the Prime Minister of India is coming to our city, and we're just checking any strangers, foreigners coming in. We don't want any trouble. Oh, okay. We weren't planning any trouble. We're just going shopping. We just want to visit a snake temple. So ever since then, I've been associating this verse with that episode and that gentleman. Right, so let me see now if I have this properly available. So perfection, siddhi, or also success, is a word that Srila Prabhupada used quite a bit. And so much so, in his writings, in his lectures, that, what's now? Wouldn't you know it? Let's try that again. No, okay, come on. I guess I have to start it over. Yeah. Technology is great when it works, and horrible when it doesn't work. Power off. That's probably going to make me lose that file. Let's see. Okay, so Prabhupada used this word success a lot. We counted the numbers. You can search in the database. I forgot the numbers now, but like thousands of times. And this got me thinking about how he's using that word, and how does he? Why so much emphasis on success, especially when Krishna says, "Be equal in success and failure." Prabhupada also speaks about failure sometimes, but not nearly as much as success. And he does say, in other contexts, to be equipoised in success and failure. But he also, he puts a lot of emphasis on success. What is that? Of course, he means what we would call spiritual success. So this got me thinking, and I'm in the process of preparing what will be a so-called academic presentation just on this topic. There's going to be a conference probably next year okay, now. That's not what I wanted. This is what I wanted. Oh, that's amazing. It doesn't work. Shri Gornitai are not going to let me do it. It's never done this before. Let's see. See, I had myself all prepared And Krishna said, yeah, you and your preparation. Yeah, okay. I have several quotes where Srila Prabhupada is referring to success. And I wanted to refer to some of these, but that's not going to happen. So what we can do instead is we can discuss what do we understand about success in general, and maybe more specifically for ourselves. Do we consider ourselves successful in our practice of Krishna consciousness? And if so, what do we mean by that? What do we mean by success? And what would failure be? We used to say, it's getting warm, back in the old days, when someone took up Krishna consciousness and then after some time we didn't see them, we would say, oh, that person blooped. Blooped. And that became an ISKCON, became part of ISKCON lexicon. Do you say like that also in Croatian? Blupno. Blupno.
We just took the English word. Put the end in.
Yeah. Well, also in German, they say gebloopt. Gebloopt. Yeah, so that would have been considered, big time failure. Nowadays, I don't know, we don't hear that so much. And it's more like, instead of blooping, it's more like fading away. Fading out, fading back in. But there's a lot of sense, I think, in our culture, in our society, that we are we're somehow the chosen ones. I guess we get some kind of sense of rightness from that. That idea of being the chosen ones, that goes way back in Western history. Of course, the Jewish tradition was all about how God's chosen people, where He made a covenant. You know this word, covenant? A contract, basically. God makes a contract with His chosen people, and when they follow His contract, then all is well, and when they don't follow it, they're in big trouble. That was, I guess, in simple terms, that's the ancient Jewish idea. There's other groups, religious groups. What is it? The Jehovah's Witnesses, they say 100,000 are chosen. No room for the rest of us. I don't know. This must be a misrepresentation, because it doesn't make sense to me, because they're also preaching. They want more and more people to join.
There are 100,000 that will come to God, and then they will manage but everybody else will wait in the earth.
They'll manage that everyone else what?
This 100,000 will come with God, and then they will manage the earth.
They'll manage the earth
For the rest of us.
for the rest of us. Oh, okay. That sounds a little bit like the British Empire. The British Empire managed India with approximately 100,000 people. That's what I read or heard. In other words, millions and millions of people. They managed it with 100,000. So, who got that idea from whom? The British got it from the Jehovah's Witnesses, or the Jehovah's Witnesses from the British? I know. Okay, perfection, siddha. Anyone want to share any thoughts you have? Your impressions, your feelings about this idea of perfection or success in spiritual life? Any thoughts? Anything? Devarshinar, you look like you have something to say.
I think when we are not success every morning, we can see if we are success with chanting japa or not success. Like today was good or not good.
Just,
or success.
just getting up in the morning and chanting Hare Krishna, 16 rounds. That's
with listening.
And listening, good, yes. Then you can say, okay, I'm a success today. And tomorrow we start all over again, right? Okay, yes.
Mataji Savitri said to follow the principles and chant the rounds year after year, year after year. And also to read Prabhupada books.
Year after year. Okay, that's nice, yes, yes.
Our authorities and other devotees are satisfied with us.
Ah, this sounds very hierarchical. Yes. Okay, Prabhupada mentions that in the purport, serving Krishna or serving the servants of Krishna. He says one has to become the servant of Krishna or the servant of the servant Krishna. And where does he say it? The measure of success, I think he uses that word here, is to see that Krishna is satisfied. To which then one may ask, how do we know if Krishna is satisfied, right? Well, Himavati Mataji asked Srila Prabhupada, how do I know if the deities are satisfied? She was the pujari. How do I know? And Prabhupada said, well, if you see Krishna smiling, then you know that Krishna is satisfied. And me, in my skepticism, thought, that can't be right. Because Krishna is always smiling. The deity is made, so he's always smiling, even if he doesn't want to smile. Krishna is smiling. But Prabhupada said, if you see Krishna smiling, he's satisfied. But we could take that as meaning, yes, he's smiling in his sort of usual way, but to really see him smiling, not just in a sort of fixed sort of way, but when you really feel he's really smiling, then you know. satisfied. Sounds like the dogs are having their kirtan now. Anything else? Other ideas about success? How do we feel about failure? Yes.
One really interesting thing, Maharaj, if you can comment that, so Prabhupada said in this comment that Arjuna should not consider success or failure because it's about Krishna, the results on Krishna, and it's not his thing to think about the results.
Right.
So maybe if you can enlighten us in this regard.
I don't know if I can enlighten you. The question was about, as Prabhupada is mentioning in the Purport, gain or victory are Krishna's concern. Arjuna is simply advised to act according to the dictation of Krishna. Gain or victory are Krishna's concern. And of course, Krishna tells Arjuna in the 11th canto, nimitta matram bhava savyasachan, just be my instrument and don't worry about the result. So being the instrument, so that it's a kind of key. It's a very key point in the principle of bhakti. You could say it's the core of bhakti ethics. Is that one is working or acting or doing to please someone else, and whatever the result is, that's all we would say in English, it's on his account. It's on his account. It's on his account. It's not on our account. This is the whole issue with regard to the problem of karma, right? This is why the Gita is considered very special in all the Vedic literature. It's giving a solution to the problem of karma, which is not that we should just stop everything and go to the Himalayas and meditate. Rather, it's saying, do your duty, whatever it is, and don't do it for yourself, do it for Krishna. And Krishna will take care of the rest. And Krishna tells us in the 4th chapter, Namang karmāṇi limpanti name karma pale spriha iti mam yo vijanatir karma virna sabhadyate. Someone who understands na mam karmāṇi limpanti. Limpanti means literally smeared. They smear. Na karmāṇi limpanti mam. Actions do not implicate me. Na mam karmāṇi limpanti na me karma pale spriha. And there's no spriha, there's no longing on my part for karma pala, for the fruits. So that's interesting. Here, what we've been reading with 47 and now 48 is you don't have a right to the fruits. And Krishna is saying, I'm not interested in the fruit. But there's fruit. There will be fruit. Whenever there's action, there's results of action. And that result, that is fruit. So who gets the fruit? Well, Krishna gets it, but he's not interested in it. Okay. That's interesting. But yeah, this is the idea that being the agent, the instrument. Prabhupada uses the word instrument, nimitta, and I think another word that can be used is agent. And agency has a kind of double sense in English. Anybody here is an insurance agent? Do we have any insurance agents here? No? Or do we have any under FBI agents? I don't think if we had, they would volunteer that information, would they? The agent is one who is representing an organization, an institution, right? In this context, representing the Supreme Person, Krishna. But in Anglophone, in English philosophy of ethics, the idea that we, as human beings, are agents of action is a key concept. It has the sense that we can intend for something to happen. It's not that we are simply patients, we are agents. We can make things happen. We can be intentional and therefore responsible. So with this double meaning, I think it's interesting to think how Krishna says, nimitta matram bhava, be my agent, be my representative, but also be responsible. You're taking responsibility for the person you're representing. Not just that, I'm just doing my job and I don't care anything. I don't have any responsibility. Success or failure doesn't matter to me. That's not the idea. The idea is doing one's duty with all in purpose, with desire to have a good result. Another way that Srila Prabhupada spoke about success quite a lot was the success of his mission. He was very proud of the success of his mission. Many times he would brag. You know this word brag? To brag about something. Felicity. Yeah. Yes, Srila Prabhupada would felicity. He would really, especially he would brag to people in India about how successful his mission was in the West. We have so many temples. We are distributing so many books. We are collecting $100,000 a day, he would say. He was, we can say, spiritually proud. And he would speak of this as success. And he would contrast this with, at that time, what he saw, what he considered not success of other preachers of Krishna consciousness. Yeah. Right. Anything else about success? Oh, we were going to talk more about how we feel about failure. But yes, Gaura-mitra, you were saying?
Guru Maharaj, I'm thinking now about the success. If somebody
left from the Krishna consciousness, or take the distance from the Krishna consciousness, should we feel unsuccess in this situation, if we close with someone, or if we have some close relationship with someone and this person decides to have the distance from the Krishna consciousness?
If I understand, you're asking, should we feel
Yes.
failure if one of our colleagues goes away and gives up? Should we feel failure? Yes and no. I mean, sometimes it's not our failure as such. We may be doing all we can to encourage everyone. But at the same time, it's true, we might, it's good to be, first of all, reflective. Is there something more I can do to inspire, to encourage this person, or to keep going? And yes, it's nice. Many times we hear someone kind of fades away, but the devotees kind of follow that person. No, we're not going to let you go so easily. And they visit them, bring them prasadam, and talk about Krishna. And then the people who have, the person who has faded away, they can't forget about Krishna. I can't forget Krishna. And then in this way they somehow maybe try again. That could be a way of feeling. Yes, we can also feel that as a collective. We may feel a certain collective failure. Why is it that so many who come through the door go back out the door and we don't see them? Why is that? What are we missing? Why is it that we are we being not so personal as we think we are? I always remember Kshetra Swami giving a talk. I kind of think it was here in Croatia, but I'm not sure. He was telling about some yoga center in New York City that he visited. And he was, I don't know if he used this expression, but it's a kind of American slang. He said he was blown away by how personal they were, even though their philosophy is supposed to be impersonal. So they were so personal. They were just so caring, so nice. And maybe we're not as personal as we think we are sometimes. Actually, yes, I was in Oxford a few weeks ago, and we have this center there for kind of academic studies, and there's one young man who is sort of connected with our center, and he's studying there. He's from the Philippines, bright fellow, and he was telling me once that yes, he joined the temple in Australia once, in Brisbane, and he was with them for some time, but he decided to move on, so to say. But the point is, he told me one day, he said, "Oh, today I met one of the Hare Krishnas on the street just over here. He was distributing books. And he approached me and he offered me a Bhagavad-gita. And I told this young man, I said, yes, I know Krishna, yes, do you know He told him, I know the temple. I've been at the temple in Australia. But this book distributor was kind of, I don't know, sort of in a programmed sort of mood. Have you heard of Bhagavad-gita? You know, excuse me, I was in the temple for, several months or whatever it was. Why would I not know the Bhagavad-gita? So sometimes that sort of thing can happen. Yeah. But more generally, how do we feel about failure? Yes, Govindanand.
I'm trying to look at success and failure as a fluid thing. Something that is not final. It's a fluid thing. So at the moment, I'm not satisfied with the situation, or I'm more satisfied with the situation, but can change and move in a direction. I can be satisfied with the role and maybe satisfied with.
Did everyone hear what he said? Yes? More or less. Okay, so the idea of fluidity, so it's not the end of the world. The present situation is part of an ongoing story. Yes, things may be not where I want it to be, but life goes on, keep going, and there will be something good happening. Yes, Sundar Gopal.
What comes to my mind is that we should tolerate it. Like, just tolerate it, and what can you do? It already happened, so.
Tolerate, okay. Toleration, that's Krishna's first practical instruction in the Bhagavad-gita. Everyone knows the verse. Matra sparshastu kaunteya. Tangstikshasva bharata. Yeah, just tolerate. Yeah, so in the several instances in the Gita where Krishna speaks of dualities and opposites, there's heat and cold, there's happiness and distress, there's success and failure. Those are kind of the three typical. There's also fame and infamy. So reputation gained, reputation lost. Loss of reputation, that can be the most difficult. And Krishna says that to Arjuna also. You should fight, because what is everyone going to think of you if you don't fight? They're just going to make jokes about you. But I think there's something else here. There's tolerance, yes, but there's something else when we think about what we just read, yoga-sthaḥ, samatvam yoga, ucyate, being equal, being equipoised, suggesting that there's something beyond both success and failure in all spheres, whether it's spiritual or material. There's something beyond all of that, and that's us, and that's Krishna. And to find that where it really isn't a difference between the success and the failure, that's yoga. That's what Krishna is saying. There isn't a difference between what we call success and what we call failure. Figure that out. Anyway, something to contemplate. Right. In any case, what does Sanjay say at the end of the Gita about this conversation? Yatra Yogeshvaro Krishna, Yatra Partha Dhanurdana, Tatra Shri Vijayo bhūtvā. I'm getting rusty. Tatra Shri Vijayo Nita Dhruvam, etc. Wherever Arjuna and Krishna are, wherever these two are together, in other words, wherever this conversation is going on, Tatra Shri, there's going to be great opulence. Vijaya, victory, so that's success. Bhuta is power, and Nita is morality. All these are going to be present wherever there's Arjuna and Krishna. Yep, so if we can be there with Krishna and Arjuna in all circumstances, then all is going to be well. What do you think? Yes? No? Maybe? Hopefully. Could be. Good chance. Okay, shall we do the Hare Krishna sandwich? Have a little kirtan again? Grantara Srimad Bhagavad-gita ki jai. Hare Krishna.